Hey everyone, this is Minejan and welcome back to another episode of Modernizing Biz podcast. On this episode, we have Kunal with us. Kunal is founder of EMotorad. Kunal, super excited for this conversation. So before going deep about the podcast, going deep about the electronic vehicles and all, first of all, I want to know your background, like how you got the idea and when you got the idea to just jump into EV market.
Okay. Uh, First of all, thanks a lot, Manish, for doing this. Happy to share my views. Happy to be here and speak to you. Uh, Starting with a bit about background, and then coming to why EV, why e-bike as a whole, right? I've been personally in the commute industry for a long time. I'm a civil engineer, although not following the same path. Did masters in finance, and this is when probably the idea of mobility kicked in. I was studying in a college which was on outskirts of Pune. Uh, the similar challenge that all the college students used to face is had to eat the mess food every single day, which was not so great, right? So wanted to provide mobility to all the students who are living inside the college. And that is where the idea creeped up. Back in 2012-13, there was no Ola, Uber, public transport present, right? So had to
Hmm.
give them some form of mobility. That idea creeped up too, and we started a rental business, a two-wheeler rental business. Bought a 5 second-hand two-wheelers, Activas, and started renting them out. And probably that has been my first journey of how I started the business. Uh, in college, ran business for 2 years. That business got acquired by a larger company called On. I
Wow.
shifted to On as a co-founder CEO. Ran that business for 5 years now. On was a larger startup where we scaled the business from 5 bikes to 14,000 assets on road. It was basically a Zoom car of two wheelers for the country. There were two angles to it. One was, of course, you can rent out the bike through an app, from an Activa to a Bullet to a KTM, or we were leasing out bikes to the larger set of crowd who was Ola, Uber, Amazon, Flipkart riders, right? And this is where we understood the real use case of commute in the country, right? A person from tier three, tier four shifting to tier one for providing lifestyle to their family, for earning a penny, and this is the real consumer of the country, right? While we were doing the rental business, we understood that IC engine, the petrol vehicle, is not going to stay for long, and I'll give you a reason why. Right, today, when you and me probably buy an Activa, we'll run it for 7-8 years, right? At least 5 years. When we were using it commercially, we had to scrap out that vehicle in 2 years because it was being used by so many people. The maintenance cost was very high, and we realized very early that this is not going to last, right? Petrol prices have already been rising, the
Hmm.
IC engine prices have been rising, and also the maintenance is so high. So you need to have a better solution. And this is when the idea of moving beyond IC mobility kicked in. Of course, we went across various products, we learned about various products, and one such product, which is an e-bike, came across. We started learning about e-bikes back in 2015. 2019 is when we conceptualized the whole play with my co-founders Rajiv, Aditya, and Sumit, and we launched a brand which is called EMotorad in June 2020. We started the brand with the purview of making the biggest brand out of the world from India. Right? This was a clear China plus one strategy. What I mean by that is the whole world right now is dependent on China for
Hmm.
sourcing their electric bikes, and we thought, why can't we replace them as an Indian company? We are already
Wow.
very strong at making automobiles. We are very strong at making cycles, right? Why can't we make electric bikes? With that thought process, my co-founders were coming with a deep experience of electric bike domain. Rajiv has lived in various countries. He has lived in China, working with various electric mobility players, e-bike players, and he brings in a lot of technical expertise of the business, a lot of supply chain expertise. Sumit brings in a lot of IoT expertise of the business. Adi does the whole marketing piece, and we thought it's the best time for India to cater to the world when the geopolitical scenario is in favor of India. So I'm sure everyone is
Amazing.
aware that 2020, while the China notion was going down, India was picking up really well, and that has really helped us move to this segment, which is called an electric cycle in India. Globally, it is called an electric bike.
So, like one thing that I had in mind whenever we talk about EV is that key is it replacing the petrol? The first point is that. So again, it's a debatable topic. A lot of people are telling that petrol cars are better. पेट्रोल का कोई रिप्लेसेबल सॉल्यूशन नहीं है सो पॉल्यूशन के अलावा कुछ और भी रीजन है या इट्स जस्ट द पॉल्यूशन दैट्स द फाउंडेशन ऑफ ईवी इंडस्ट्री
I don't believe pollution is the foundation of EV industry. I believe cost per kilometer, the cost of your commute is the reason for shift in the EV industry. especially for the countries which are still in the developing phase,
Hmm.
right? In a country like us, people usually don't buy an EV product because it is impacting the climate in a better way, right?
Agree. Yeah.
EV brings in a lot of subsets, right? A subset is noise pollution. EV does not have any noise pollution, which is out there. But we don't buy it because noise pollution nahi ho raha hai, because climate change nahi ho raha hai. We buy it because the cost per kilometer, the cost of my commute is significantly lower as compared to a petrol engine. To give you a fact, if a person is commuting on our product for say 10 kilometers, it will cost them hardly 3 rupees, 2 to 3 rupees, hardly, right? If they're commuting on say an IC product, an Activa, it will cost them around 40 bucks. And
Oh
that's
my.
the larger difference, right? It's 90%, 95% lesser than what it costs in an IC engine. And I think that is why the adoption is so much faster in the last 2 years.
Okay. Now, like, what's the you have been working into global market to recently launch in Europe before this podcast you're
Yeah,
doing the conversation.
yeah,
That's a great
yeah,
initiative, right? So, if you want to give a comparative study about the market, like in India versus a global market, like what's the scenario?
right. Right, right. So in India, the electric bike market is still very early. People are still trying to understand, first of all, why do we need an EV, as we just spoke about. Apart from this, what is an e-bike? Why is there a battery on the cycle? Is the first question
Hmm.
that we had to cater to, right? That is the answer that we are giving to the world. Apart from this, when we talk about global markets, US, Europe, Australia, all these places, the primary form of commute has been electric bike for last 3 to 4 years. Now,
Yeah.
why do I say this, right? There is no scooter, there is no motorcycle concepts in these countries. Either they'll buy a car or an electric bike, right? Like how we use Activas till date, they buy an electric bike for the primary mode of commute. You can actually ride an electric bike, put it in your metros, in your buses, and go to your last mile journey. And that is how they have been covering the whole place. Why do they do that, right? First of all, it is much more economical. It takes the least amount of weight on the road. And there's a concept called the total amount of weight which is there on the road, which is followed in European countries. What it means is there are only significant number of buses, significant number of cars, and significant number of e-bikes allowed on the road. You can't go beyond a threshold.
अच्छा,
Like
तो
how you must
इंडिया
have,
में I'll just
yeah,
pause you right here. इंडिया में है ऐसा कुछ rule? Never
इंडिया में
heard
अभी
about
आने
it.
का है रूल वी आर
हाँ.
नेवर heard about it. You must be knowing, right? Singapore has this rule. You can't
Yeah.
go beyond certain number of cars, and that is the rule these countries have been following. So they're reducing the weight on the road ताकि infrastructure sustains. Environmentally we are good, and also when you ride an e-bike, of course it is healthy at the subset. It is healthier for you. If you are pedaling, you are automatically becoming healthy. So it ticks all the blocks for the country, and that is where they have been growing. To give you a market size, last year the market size was $40 billion, much more larger than the two-wheeler industry as a whole, right? Uh,
Wow.
and I'll throw you a larger stat here. In last 3 years, the total number of EV cars, two wheelers, motorcycles, तीनों मिला के 25 million units बिके थे पूरे वर्ल्ड में बोल रहा हूँ मैं, right? When it comes to an e-bike, total number of 134 million units were sold across the
Amazing.
globe. I'm talking about it's a 5x larger industry as compared to the other industry here. So I believe it's a very large opportunity for a country like us, and we have been growing significantly there.
So talk more about the challenges that you have faced while developing the product, because a product like this requires a lot of test and trials, R&D, and D, and the biggest challenge that you took is not to buy from outside the world, right? There's easy option to go and buy from China, but you choose
Yeah,
to
yeah,
develop it, right? So what are the challenges
yeah.
that you have faced while developing e-bikes?
Yeah, challenges have been many. Now you'll have to understand we still have to maintain the quality which Europe, US standards have achieved over a period
Hmm.
of time because we wanted to build a brand who is also known as an international brand who also exports the product from India, right? So in terms of quality, we had to set the right quality standards with the Indian manufacturers. Since the industry is quite new, we had to sit with them, working on motors, motor controllers, telling them the quality standards, bringing them the sample sets from Europe, from different parts of the world, and telling them, yeah, this is the quality that we need. Different sets of challenges, right? Lithium ion cells are right now not available on a large set piece in India, right? So we had to
Hmm.
import that and make the right battery pack here in the country.
Yeah.
And there are different sets of challenges. We are already also working with uh, Indian organizations like ARAI to make them understand that how useful is this product for our country. Right now, there are certain norms which are built because someone has written it on the paper, right? They've written that you need to have a 10 ampere motor, which makes no sense. The bike won't climb a normal road also. So that norms need to be changed, and that is the part that we are playing. We're trying to educate the country as a whole, and of course, educating the consumer on the same point. Why is there a battery on the cycle? Why is it so powerful?
So do you also consider that we are into again still into the awareness stage rather than the adoption stage, or rather than into the expansion phase?
I totally believe that the awareness to adoption time is going to be significantly lesser for this particular product, because we see a larger boom in the whole EV industry, right? People have started shifting to e-scooters. They want to buy e-cars right now. They are not available, many of them, but Tata has been doing great in that segment. So
Hmm.
fortunately, EV is seeing a push. Government is giving great pushes. Government has been providing subsidies, which promotes the whole EV segment as a whole. I believe this awareness to adoption journey is will completely finish in next 3 years, and people will start adopting much more faster. We have been seeing great influx, great scale in the Indian market, and I think it is bound to grow from here.
Yeah, if you can talk about in percentage compared from 2022 to 2023, like what's the percentage of increment you have seen in terms of users?
Here, in 2022 in India business, we approximately sold around 8,000 units.
Hmm.
In 2023, financial year 2023, we are doing upwards of at least 22,000 units. So it's a significant high jump. In the global market, that business has scaled up really, really higher. And there are multiple reasons for global market scaling up, right? The European play, and because of the Russia-Ukraine war, the fuel prices
Yeah.
across the globe have risen so much in Europe also. So people have completely, जो थोड़ा बहुत petrol engine बचा हुआ था, they've completely started shifting to an EV and an e-bike particularly. So an e-bike, e-bike always sees an influx when there is a downfall in the economy also.
Yeah.
So if there is a downfall, people will start buying less cars, but they still have to mobilize, right? You still have to go from point A to point B, and they'll end up buying an e-bike. So it always creates a good notion. It's always a uptick for an e-bike in the whole scenario.
Perfect, perfect. So now this is like again, since this industry is more talked about, they come up with a lot of big competitors who are been into this industry for more than a decade now. Like उनको हो चुका है 25-30 साल, right? So in presence of
Mm-hmm.
those competitors, what are your strategy to be stable in the market and acquire the customers too?
Yeah, yeah. So I believe there are quite a few legends who have been in the cycle space in the country for quite some time. So our clear moat is the kind of quality and the after sale service that we provide to the country, right? We started with a product which was costing 50,000 rupees
Wow.
a unit, right? People started buying a 50,000 rupees e-bike, and that is the quality prowess that we wanted to give to the country. That
Hmm.
this is the kind of quality you need for riding the right e-bike, the after sale service, and uh, although it's a electronic bicycle, what we call it, but still it's a absolute different product to a normal cycle. See, normal cycle never needed an after sales service setup.
Yeah.
There was not a concept called after sales, right? You can actually repair it anywhere and everywhere. In an electric bicycle, still you need a smart after sales setup, and that is what we have built as a proprietary service. We have a 24/7 video call service wherein anything wrong
Wow.
with the electronics of the bike, you can quickly go out and just change it over a call. It comes with a quick release plug. And I think that's going to create a larger moat. Our designs are much more superior, our quality is much more superior than what is available out there in the market. And it is primarily coming from the reason that we have an international presence, and that reflects and replicates the quality of what
Hmm.
we want to build.
So, do you also consider initial hope so that you touch the point that you have break down the prices 50,000 and now you started down to
Yeah,
much lower segment. We like to more about the pricing, but initially जब आप sell कर रहे थे market में, you also face the problem that of the overpriced product, right? Because
yeah, yeah,
previously I remember that 80,000 when they might get Activa, now it's costing a 50,000 for a electronic bicycle. So थोड़ा tough होता है for your adoption, like how you cope up with that. If you can talk
yeah.
more about a case study of a lead, a customer that you closed, so that would be
Right.
great.
See, in India, and people are not aware about the fact that in India में 5 लाख का भी normal cycle बिकता है, right? It differs on the quality. There's a
Hmm.
larger set of crowd in the country right now who's actually buying a premium product, who's buying it for the right quality, because this is actually a mobility product, right? You don't want to go subset on the quality front. To cater to a larger segment of crowd, to understand them that this is the top notch quality that we can give you at a 50,000, 60,000 rupees price point. We have also brought in certain very good quality pieces at a much more lower price point, which is 24,999. We recently launched a month back. We recently launched a category which starts at 24,999. the highest specifications at that price point range, right? And that has seen a mad influx in the country, right? People probably who are not able to touch us or afford us probably prominently at a 50,000 rupees price point have been buying in and out. This is the first time we are probably catering to the segment which is 14 to 18-year olds also, who
Wow.
wanted to buy a 15,000 rupees normal cycle but are
Hmm.
ending up buying a electric bike because it is much more safer, faster. And see, one point I want to touch on: electric bicycle as a category does not specifically need a separate cycling track. And we know for a fact that we have been fighting for a cycling track in our country since so long, right? And it takes a lot in terms of infrastructure to build that. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of space to build that, right? Electric bike has a good speed of 25 up to 25 kilometers, which is more than the average speed of a vehicle which is going on the road, the traffic which is going on the road, right? So it does not need a separate infrastructure, and that is why it sits well in our economy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have been yet another product.
Yeah, and I think so in metros it's the average speed 20 kilometers, so nothing to shout about
Oh,
that.
average speed. Yeah. So uh, a very recent study, in fact, said that the Hyderabad in tier ones, Hyderabad is the city which has a 22-kilometer speed average traffic speed, which is the highest in the country in tier one,
Oh my
which
god.
is crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that there might be no like there might be a comes up a time where we started running instead of even driving.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Yeah.
so you touch the point of the pricing. You break down from 50 to 24. You might possible have raised a lot of funds, right? That's why you introduce a new technologies and you achieve economies of scale. So if you can talk about your fundraising strategies and journey too, so that would be great.
See, at the core, when we started this business, the idea always was to build a corely profitable business. I come from a बनिया community background. डैड ने हमेशा यही सिखाया है कि यार बेटा जो भी business करना है profitably करना है. And that is the thought process that we started the business. Initial 18 months was always about building the right set of product with the right set of margins and supplying it to the market, either it's India, either it's international. Our international business has scaled up such significantly well that we were able to get those profits and invest in the Indian business. And that is where we didn't need initially a lot of funding. As founders, we have invested around $2.5 million ourselves for the largest piece of time. And we've raised till now $3 million till now. We're, of course, going for the further sets of rounds to go deeper in the market. And the funds actually in this space has to play a catalyst role, right? We need to push out marketing, and when we talk about marketing, we spoke about we need to have a lot more awareness. That awareness comes at the cost of a dollar, and that is
Hmm.
what we need to put it out to the market, and that's where the funds are going to be allocated
Yeah, towards
primarily.
going to the end of the podcast, you touched the point of marketing. If you can share a couple of strategies and the verticals through which you have been selling more, right? Is it offline? Is it online? And what's
Yeah.
the unique strategy, one strategy that you can touch that is different from the other people and that's worked for us?
Right. So I'll first touch upon what all channels are we selling from. So in India today we have 180 plus dealers who have been selling our bikes. It's a bicycle shop, multi-brand outlet dealers who have been selling our products. We are available in 61 cities. Apart from this, we are the only player in the country who's present in modern trade in Tata
Wow.
Croma, Reliance Retail, Hamleys. We're the only player in the product country there. Also, we are the largest rated brand and the category in on Amazon. So whenever you go and check on Amazon, you'll always find EMotorad products on the top, the highest rated and
Yeah.
significantly higher. And that is something which has been working well for us. So today, of course, there's a larger dominance of offline sales versus online sales. Offline sales is larger today, but we foresee that say in next 3-4 years, people will start trusting the brand more and going to the stores or coming online and buying it. We still do a lot of online sales, but then I think that is still an early
Perfect.
guess for us
Wow.
to have. It's a very touch and feel product. So as promotions we spoke about, we do a lot of test ride campaigns. We totally believe that uh, anyone and everyone who sits on our bike will be able to buy our bike, and the more and more people sit on our bike, we'll be able to do much more sales. We have a very clear standard: every 12 people sitting on our bike, one person
Amazing.
is buying the bike, which
Yeah.
is a great stat to have, right? So we want to scale that up very largely, and that is why the whole offline space is going to be
Thanks a
very
lot, Kunal, being on Modernizing Biz podcast. It was great interacting with you. Hope audience will get a lot of value about EV market from this episode. Super excited to record more episodes about EV market with you, and super excited to be part of your trial mode as well.
Happy to do it. Happy to do it, Manish. It was glad speaking to you. Thank you so much for
Thank you
doing
so
this.
much.